Okay, so who has a New Year's resolution? Who has a goal that next year I'm going to jump onto? Next year is going to be the year for me. It's such a critical thing that a lot of us have those New Year's resolutions. And I think the critical thing behind that is the fact that usually they're next year. They're not now, they're a year away, or they're weeks or months away. Either way, it's something that you're assigning a year to do that. And it's proven time and time again that New Year's resolutions do not work. But more importantly, it's very easy for us to see that as such a long period of time to say, next year, I'm going to go and take over the world and do all these amazing things, that for the first few weeks, you might have that energy and that focus. And then bit by bit, you start to taper off. And from there, as you fall off, it's very easy and reassuring to say, well, I got a whole year. I'll get back on track. And what happens over time? You forget completely that you're doing anything. Or worse, it gets to July, August, or whatever. And suddenly, where are you? You're back at square one. It's like, well, clearly I'm not going to make it this year. Next year is my goal. And I have so many conversations, so many discussions with friends of mine who every year have the same New Year's resolutions. They always have the same thing that next year I'm going to start my business. Next year I'm going to do this. After I finish this freelance gig, then I'm going to do it. Oh, I'll just do one more. So Parkinson's law states that a task, and I'm going to butcher it, so I'm just going to say it as I would say it, and that is basically that a task will expand to fulfill the given time that's allocated to it. In other words, if you have a month to do something, it's very easy to kick back and do nothing for 3 weeks and then literally crap yourself in the last couple of days and pull a miracle out of your butt and get it done. I'm sure we've all been there, and some of us rely on that. In fact, there's been plenty of times where I realize that that's a fact. So I rely on Parkinson's law to get things done. Either I give myself false time constraints. In other words, it might be due in a month. Great, I'll get it done in a week, and then I'll move on to something else. Or I know it's going to be done in a month. It's going to be due then. So I'll get busy with other things for the first 3 weeks and then panic and get that thing done. As long as it's not affecting me in any mental or physical way of freaking out and having sleep deprivation, then it's okay. I don't mind having that little spike of productivity and getting things done. But it's good to understand that that is the case. Now, if you have a year to do something and you set out to have a goal, and that's going to be your one goal for the year, or your multiple goals that are all going to be in December or October, then you don't need to have that constant pace. What are you going to do for the rest of the year? The first 3 quarters, you're going to let go to waste. And that's typically what we do. Something that I did about 6 months ago is I decided to draft up a 90-day year. And I wrote above it, attack with urgency and fail fast. And by that, it meant that I can measure everything I'm doing and realize when I am failing, and I can fail fast and get back on track. More importantly, everything that I do, I attack as if it was due in a week. Instead of attacking everything like, I got a year. I got plenty of time. I got all the time in the world. By condensing your entire year into just a quarter, what you're doing is you're compacting it down into a point where you need to attack it fast. You need to fail fast when you hit those marks. More importantly, though, you are attacking with urgency. You're doing things off the get-go. You need to see results. So by having 3 months or 90 days to accomplish all of your goals, maybe some of these goals might require a full year, but it doesn't mean that you can't break them down into ones that you can attack with that urgency within that 90 days. So by having 90-day goals and mapping it out, it becomes very quick and easy for you to realize, wow, these are the things that are in front of me. This is when it's all due. What are the results that I need to get in the next 90 days to make this a success? For me, this has changed my life. And granted, I've only been doing it for the past year, but it's definitely allowed me to compact 4 years of work into 1 year. And this is something, especially in the last 6 months, that I've aggressively started doing more and more. Now, I'm going to go through and explain and break down the whole process. But for me, it basically meant that I could start out with what's my year-long goals? What do I want to accomplish in the next year? And it might be that I want to launch a new website. I might want to put out a new product, or maybe I want to start working on a short film or write a book. Whatever it is that you want to set out and do, by having that initial goal, I can say, great, well, that's a year. What am I going to do in that year? Well, what if I had 90 days? How would I approach it? What would change? And this is the best part about it, because by putting it into that urgent state where that schedule is so compact, you really need to rethink how you're doing things. You can't do the lazy, I'll work on weekends. It might be, you know what? I need more time in my day. How do I do that? Well, maybe I'm going to get up an hour early every day. I'm going to give it 1 hour every day. That's 7 hours a week. If I want to on weekends, if I've got that flow, if I've got that momentum, if I'm enjoying what I'm doing, that's when I can start to ramp it up. But either way, I'm moving forward every day. And as I said before about failing fast, the best part is that you go 1 day, 2 days, 3 days without ever writing that book or whatever it is that you're contributing to. It's very easy to see that you're not getting the results you intended. And it's very quickly allows you to adapt and change the game plan to get back on track. And for me, it's been great because it means that I can see when I'm not getting the results that I need. And I know that my deadlines are coming up and I've got to get back on track. So by having a 90-day set of goals, what I'll do is I'll break it down into month chunks, and then from there, weekly chunks, daily chunks from there. And each week, I'll kind of plan out what I want to accomplish throughout those upcoming days and start to allot it. By having the length of 3 months, it gives me time where if I start to fail, it's not the end of the world, but I can see that I'm not hitting the marks right away. And that means I might need to try extra hard the next week. But the best part is I'm seeing results right away. And it means that I can compact an entire year into a quarter and 4 years into one. And bit by bit, you start to get that momentum, you start to get that success. And that is exponential rather than it being something where I've got a year to go off and do this little thing. Instead, you're setting up goals. And even if they're, like I said before, too big for 90 days, it doesn't mean that you can't say, well, great. If I had a 1 year goal, what would be my 6 month goal? Great. That is my 90-day goal. So 6 months from now, I want to accomplish what I intended to do in a year, whatever it's going to be. But bit by bit, you can start to compact everything down, attack everything with urgency, and fail fast.